What's up, guys? It's your boy, the Iconic Knight, and we are finally here with the How to Fight Like Lomachenko video. In this video, we're gonna break down Lomachenko's style, some traits in his style, positive and negative. We're gonna cover his offensive capabilities, his defensive capabilities, and combinations that he loves to throw in his fights. So, what I see online is a massive amount of criticism in terms of Lomachenko being a bad fighter in this game, and he's only bad because you are using Lomachenko incorrectly. Yes, I said it, you are using him wrong. Every time I see someone try to fight with Lomachenko online, they're using him willy-nilly, run-of-the-mill style, the way they use every other boxer in the game. That's not how you're supposed to use him. You're supposed to use his positive traits to his advantage. So when using Lomachenko, you want to focus on Lomachenko's traits, the positives and the negatives. So to cover the positives, the Prince 2 increases damage of all directional punches by 15%. So in combination, when you're using your offense, you want to utilize directional attacks and not fight in a static position. You also want to be able to utilize your dodges and your slips because the speed is increased by 15% for both of those. And you want to throw combination punches because the damage of those punches increases by 3% per punch. Now, as well as knowing the positives, you want to learn the negatives about your fighter so you know what not to do in a fight. So touching on the first negative, we're going to look at his passive negative. So when standing still, punches deal 5% less damage, meaning if you're punching in a static position and you're not using directional punches, your punches are 5% less powerful than your directional strikes. Why use those? More importantly, though, his second negative is a lot more detrimental to your performance with Lomachenko. From the start of round 6 onward, you recover 20% less stamina. This is why you want to conserve your stamina in those first 3 to 4 rounds and just gather knowledge and data on tendencies and any kind of patterns that your opponent is showing and work the body as much as possible so you have maximum stamina in round 6 and you get to utilize your positives to the best of your ability towards the later rounds of the fight. So, first thing we're going to break down is his style. So when talking about Lomachenko's style, I think of two things. He is an extremely technical fighter, so he's a technician, and he's a swarmer. So for the first half of the fight, he's technical. He's focusing on downloading data, recognizing patterns and tendencies. And then in the second fight, he becomes a swarmer, utilizing combination punching, body work, and fantastic movement to disrupt his enemy. So now we're going to go into Lomachenko's offense. When you're looking at Lomachenko's offense, there are a variety of techniques and tactics that he uses to disrupt his opponent. He uses level changes and feints, fantastic footwork, and combination punching, primarily directional attacks. And more importantly, he uses the jab to set up everything. Okay, so when discussing level changes and feints, this is how I utilize Lomachenko's level changes and feints in the game. So what I would do is, when I'm on the outside, I'd like to mess with the leaning button just a little bit. I don't want to lean too low. We're not going Mike Tyson or peekaboo style. I just want to play with it a little bit and get that character model moving a little bit, just to have the opponent guessing on what I'm gonna do. Also, you could toss out feints as well. To toss out feints, you want to tap the left directional on the directional pad. You want to tap the left arrow and then throw out a strike. So tap left and then throw out a jab, and he's going to feint the jab. You want to maybe pop those in here and there just to get your opponent biting on things, to keep them guessing and get their mind thinking that you're gonna attack. The more time you have to download their tendencies and their patterns, the better. What you also want to do is utilize step feints. So when I'm out of range and let's say I've rattled an opponent a couple times, what I like to do, if I feel like they're going to use power, is I'm going to step in and then step out, wanting them to bite on that feint. Now that's going to help you draw out it's going to help you draw out their attacks, whether they be regular standard punches or power punches. That's going to benefit you because that's just going to drain their stamina. The more they can bite and throw out missed strikes, the faster their total stamina is going to deplete, and the better you're going to have throwing those combination punches towards the later rounds. Because in the beginning of the fight, you want to download data, patterns, and you want to recognize their tendencies. You're not really trying to finish this fight in the first 3 to 4 rounds. You want to conserve your stamina. Because Lomachenko does have that negative, that con, in terms of his stamina depleting a lot quicker, starting at that 6th round. Now for Loma's footwork. Lomachenko loves utilizing footwork to really as a main power of his defense. If someone is stalking him, he wants to be in and out. Lomachenko in this game has phenomenal footwork, and you want to use that to the best of your ability, man, to get away from your opponent, to avoid strikes. You want to make sure that when you're moving around, too, you're not circling towards their power hand. You want to circle away from that. You want to disrupt them and move at angles as well. You don't want to just move on a straight line. You want to be able to move around on a kind of horseshoe kind of type of angle and get out of range as much as possible. I don't recommend using loose footwork because, again, Lomachenko's stamina depletes very fast, and loose footwork is going to make your stamina deplete even faster. Now, another element in Lomachenko's footwork is he has the best step back in the game, as far as I can see. I haven't used every fighter, but Lomachenko's step back is, again, goated, in my opinion. So from this range, you could really tap the opponent and back out and gain all that distance. That's a simple step back. You can also utilize L steps the way Lomachenko does in real life as well. So you could retreat on the jab, step back, and then angle off. And then you can also do it in the opposite direction, which is what I prefer mostly. If your opponent is orthodox, you don't want to angle off towards their power hand, because all they have to do is cut you off, meet you that way with a power strike. You want to be able to get away from their power hand and lead them into your strength. So you can retreat, step, and then boom, circle off towards their lead hand, their left hand if they're in orthodox position. But if they're southpaw, then don't be afraid to circle off towards that left side as well. Now, also included in his footwork, I would include rolls, steps to the side, and weaves as well, or quote-unquote shuffles, I would say. So Lomachenko has a tendency to jab, jab, and then roll off to that right side to his opponent's weak side. So let's say your opponent is defending, right? You want to come in, jab, jab, roll off, boom, and you're going to be able to come to this weak side and attack that body, attack the head, come straight down the pipe with a straight. You want to be able to utilize all those techniques while weaving and stepping off too. So you can jab, jab, step off, boom, straight down the pipe, jab, jab, step off, straight down the pipe again. So again, you want to be boom, step, boom. You can jab, jab, weave, uppercut. Jab, jab, weave, hook, body shot. You want to be able to come off with combination punching when you're weaving off to that weak side. Take advantage of the lack of defense on the body or the head. I would say one of Lomachenko's best offensive tools is really a textbook one, the jab. Lomachenko uses the jab all the time. Now, when using Lomachenko, you don't want to punch in a static position. You don't want to jab from this position right here, unless you're probing, unless you're kind of baiting some counterattacks. When you're initiating a jab, you want to step into it. It's going to be his fastest jab Remember, because directional punching is his advantage. So you could either step into it, you could step in, step out, you could step in, step out, you could step in, step out at an angle, step in, step in, step out. You want to be able to mix up that jab with variety. But remember, always punch in the direction, either moving forward, backwards, or at an angle. If you're going to move at an angle, don't move towards the power side over here. You want to move towards their weak side. And just remember, the jab sets up every single thing that Lomachenko does. It's going to be the jab always. Whether it's escaping, entering, you want to utilize that jab because it's fast, it's snappy, and it's powerful. Now we're going to go to Loma's defense. Now again, defensively, he uses the high guard. But I like to manipulate it by holding the left trigger. It does get you flat-footed, but you have the ability to manipulate your hands. And this could also bait your opponent. Right here, if you're left, if the right side in your face is open, you're going to bait that attack. You can, boom, get the defense up, and then counter with a hook of your own. And vice versa. If the other side is down, and they feel like attacking from the right, you want to be able to get that defense up quickly and reverse with a hook of your own or a strike of your own. Doesn't have to necessarily be a hook, but this is always a good tool that I utilize. If they start throwing a bunch of combinations, then you can get those blocked off the glove for a degree, for a time. See, you want to be able to make sure that the glove that you're putting up is blocking the side of the hook that's coming in. Now, to cover catch and shoot defense, we're going to throw up the high guard. We have a second controller here, so we're going to bear with me. I'm going to lean forward towards this side. Now, when it comes to catch and shoot, you want to strike on the same side that you defended. So if Linares throws a left hook, I want to come back with a right hook immediately when he touches the glove. Let me gain some space a little bit. Hassan Loma got T-Rex arms. Now, the reason you want to attack on that same side is because their hand has yet to come up. Their hand is traveling back towards their chin, which gives you an opening. Their rear hand should be defending their chin. It's going to be a lot faster in terms of defending themselves. So that's why you want to attack on that same side using the catch and shoot defense. Now you want to make sure that you're using L steps as well. So you're not coming directly straight back on the line. You want to cut off. Right? So if your opponent, let's say, is chasing you on that line, you want to quickly, boom, swerve off. You see how it gave you about a second and a half of delay before that opponent tracks you again? You want to be able to cut off real quick, and their character is going to reset. If he's just moving straight, then you're going to be able to get away at an angle. You look a lot closer, but if he starts throwing strikes, they're not going to hit you. See? Now, when it comes to weaving, rolls I don't recommend because the tracking is way too good for you to roll under punches. Unless they're like the lunging forward punches, you can do that. But if they're in a static position, this is what's going to happen to you if you try to roll. As you can see, those were ineffective. But what you want to use are slips. So if an opponent is throwing the left hook, you want to be able to slip away from it. Right hook, you want to slip away from it. These are going to be effective all the time when you slip. as long as you time it correctly. And this is all about pattern recognition and looking at your opponent's tendencies. None of this stuff is reactionary. It's stuff that you've seen in the fight, stuff that you know he's going to throw again at the same cadence. You want to pick up cadence, you want to pick up timing. All that stuff is going to help you prepare for this. You don't want to live here, because we're not Floyd Mayweather and it doesn't work successfully in this game 100% of the time, but you are going to be able to defend some of these shots throughout the fight. Okay, so now we're going to focus on some of Lomachenko's favorite combinations that he loves to throw in a fight. So the first is going to be the jab, jab, shuffle right, and you can choose to either use a straight left or an uppercut. And this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to put the opponent's guard up, and this is how it's going to look in fight. So jab, jab, shuffle right, uppercut. And then this is going to be the straight. Now, because he has that high guard, the straight is a lot harder to get through. So a good tip is move your analog stick towards the opponent and throw that lunging straight. And here's all this stuff without the guard. That's the straight. Now you really want to go to the weak side, primarily when you're shuffling. So it's be on that weak side, and that's going to help you throw those directional punches later. Now for combination 2, which is one of my favorite Lomachenko combinations, and I love throwing it in this game. It's going to be the jab, jab, rear body uppercut, lead hook. And this is what it's going to look like in slow motion. At a slow pace, not slow motion. So it's going to be, and let's get right here, right? So it's going to be jab, jab, rear body uppercut, and then lead hook. Now, sometimes when you're really close, the opponent's glove is going to block that that lead hook when their hands are up in that defensive position. Naturally. So what I like to do sometimes, you got to go a little offbeat with it. So it's going to go jab, jab, rear body uppercut, and then you want to time it when that glove is a little lower, because sometimes the glove, as you see, can get in the way and block the strike, even if they're not defending. And this is, I think, a big issue. Well, not a big issue. I think it's a lot of people's issues when they talk about tracking and stuff like that. This is actually the cause of it. The character model is just getting in the way, which is realistic. But that happens very, very often when you're throwing Lomachenko's lead hook. So, you know, what you could do is double up on the uppercut as well. So you can go jab, jab, rear, and then go up high. When their hands go down low after that second uppercut, you go up high and crack them when their hands are dropped. So now we're going to look at the combo in faster motion. What you also want to do too, on that lead hook, come up with power. But you got to do it directly after you hit that uppercut. It's going to be a fast power shot. As opposed to this one that charges up. You want to press R1 and circle really fast. And it's going to give you that fast lead power shot with Lomachenko. So here's a combo again with power. And you see the glove got in the way again. So double up on that uppercut, bring those hands down low, and go up high with power. For the third combination, we're going to throw in a little bit of directional attack as well. And it's going to be a variation of the rear body uppercut lead hook. But then we're going to throw in some directional attacks to the body and then go head as well. So we're going to jump in with the jab, jab, rear body uppercut, lead hook. We're going to shuffle right. We're going to hit the body on the far left side. So it's L1. You're going to push the left stick up away from your opponent and X. Then you can come back around with L1 down on the left stick and circle to hit the body, and then go up top with the hook. As you can see, his elbow stopped the body shot and his glove stopped the lead hook to the head. So be wary. Timing is really everything. These character models are pretty precise in terms of their hitboxes. The glove will get in the way. The elbow will get in the way eventually. So you want to make sure that you're timing these correctly. It's kind of hard to do in the midst of a combination. But again, you're not going to hit them all the time. So it's going to be jab, jab, rear body uppercut, lead hook, shuffle right. You can go left, right, hook to the head, uppercut. You want to be able to mix all that stuff in. And then you're going to get creative with it as well. So you're going to be able to do your own combinations. So you want to be able to mix off stuff like that, especially when your opponent is in the corner. You want to bounce from left to right and make sure that they're not able to escape. Loma's favorite strikes are uppercuts and hooks, and in this game, you can utilize those to perfection. 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 See that combo right there? That's a Lomachenko combo right there, baby. So you want to be able to utilize this stuff in a fight. And again, this is only going to be beneficial to you if you have maximum stamina in those later rounds. There's only 8 rounds in the fight, so I would say by the time you hit that 5th or 6th round, you want to be at least at 70% stamina. Do not blow your load in the beginning, of the fight. You want to be able to get those pattern recognitions, get those tendencies down, and drain their stamina while you wait to go in for the kill later on. So now that we covered Loma's style, his offense, his defense, his combination punching, and all the tactics and tricks that he loves to utilize in his fights, we're going to spar the computer and see if we could apply some of these tactics, some of these techniques, and really just get comfortable with Lomachenko. I prefer to practice on intermediate difficulty because you want to get used to these skills. It's like training in real life. You're not going to jump in with the most experienced boxer, and if you are, they're going to go very, very light on you. You want to learn the techniques nice and slow, and then speed them up as you get more comfortable and more experience with them. So, if you like this video, smash that like button, uppercut the subscribe button because we're close to 100 followers and I want to get to that hundo. And as always, I love you. Jesus Christ loves you. God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of the video, boy. Let's fight like Loma.